This is Jenna and we're going to be explaining the 3.6 geometry quiz, okay? So, for the first question, I want you guys to focus on this word right here. This is a very, very important word because it might get you the answer wrong just because you didn't focus on it, okay? So, obtuse lands on the second quadrant. Let's draw the coordinate. Okay. Why did that go way too long? Wait. Okay, so this is the first quadrant, this is the second quadrant, this is the third, and this is the fourth, okay? My teacher gave me a saying that could help you in solving questions like these. The saying goes like, all students take chem, which is chemistry. Okay, so for all, which is the first coordinate, all of the sine, cosine, tangent is positive. For second coordinate, students S, okay? S is the only, which stands for sine, is the only different value, okay? So we know that sine is Y and cosine is X. And we know, okay, wait. And we know that X on this plane here, for these two planes, is negative, okay? So, cosine will be negative, and then tangent, okay, tangent is sine. I don't know why my pen's lagging. Sine over cosine. So when one is negative, the whole thing is negative. So tan will also be negative in those two quadrants here, okay? So let's remember that. So let's draw the coordinate plane again. 1, 2, 3, 4. All students take chem, okay? So, like we said, that cosine and tangent here will be negative, and sine will be the only value that's positive, and that's why it's S for this one, okay? Because sine is the only different one, okay? But for quadrant 3, okay, T is in front. And what does T stand for? Tangent, okay? I'm teaching you this because this will help you way too much, okay? So, for this, we know that sine is Y and cosine is X, okay? So, X and Y here are both negative. So, cosine is negative and sine is negative. And we know that tangent equals sine over cosine. And when you have two negatives, they equal a positive. So tangent is going to be the only value that's positive, and that's why this quadrant starts with a T. Okay, now let's go to the last and final quadrant, which is a C, which stands for cosine. Here, cosine is the only negative value. I mean, the only positive value because it's X, and X is positive here. And the rest are all negatives. Okay, and that's it for this. So please remember this because it will really help you if they ask obtuse or acute, okay? Acute is in the first quadrant, and obtuse is in the second, okay? So just remember that so we can solve this question, okay? So remember, obtuse here, which is this quadrant over here, cosine is negative and tan is negative, okay? So let's start solving our question. Okay. Let's do tan on our calculators, okay? Let me open the calculator. Okay, let's do tangent, okay? So tangent negative 20 over 21. Wait, we have to do shift because it's on the other side, right? So let's do shift tangent 20 over 21, and it's negative. Let's not forget that. So we get negative 43.6. Okay, let's remember that value. Okay, so I'll write it here, negative 43.6. Please remember it, okay, because I have to erase everything. Okay, so now let's keep on going through. So we need to find a value that will get us the same value as shift tan negative 21 over negative 20 over 21. Okay, so let's start with sine x equals 20 over 21. Okay, let's do shift sine 20 over 29, and we get 43.6. So that is one of the answers. Now let's do shift sine 21 over 29. We get 46.3, and our answer was 43.6. Okay, so that's not one of the answers. Okay, now let's do I'll skip cosine negative 21 over 29 because that's where it gets tricky. Okay, so let's do cosine x equals 21 over 29, not negative. Shift cosine 21 over 29. Here we get the right value, but remember what I told you, cosine has to be negative because it's obtuse, so it's in the second quadrant. Okay, so what's the same number but opposite? Cosine negative 21 over 29, and that's why I told you to skip it, because if you do cosine negative 21 over 29, I can show you, you'll get a different number. Okay, but if you do 180 answer minus 180, you'll get 43.6, negative 43.6. Okay, that's how you have to think of it. Cosine will always be negative, and it will be the supplement of the answer you're gonna get. Okay, now let's keep going with them. We only have sine left, one left, so shift sine minus 21 over 29. You get negative 43.46, and that's not one of the answers. Okay, so that's how you solve this question. Okay, now let's go to the second one. Okay, this is way easier. Okay, so one of the trigonometric identities is sine squared x plus cosine squared x equals 1. Okay, here we have cosine squared x. Okay, so enter that value, so 0.04 equals 1, and we're gonna have to find sine squared x. Okay, so we move to the other side like any other equation. So sine squared x equals 1 minus 0.04 on your calculator, or just mentally, it's very simple. Sine squared x is gonna be 0.96, and that's one of the choices, so you pick it. Okay, and then the other choices are about tan. Okay, so we know tan is sine over cosine, right? So let's put our cosine and our sine that we found. Okay, so our sine we found is 0.96, so put 0.96 over 0.04. Do it on your calculator. You're gonna get 24, and that's your tan. Question number 3. Okay, question number 3 is more of a tricky question. To be honest, for me, I also got tricked with it. So I'm gonna help you not get tricked by it, okay? So let's do it on our calculators. Shift cosine radical 3 over 2. So shift cosine radical 3 over 2, you get 30, okay? So let's go back. So initially 30 is one of your answers because that's what you found in the calculation on the calculator, okay? But we also know cosine keeps rotating every 360, okay? So let's minus 360 by 30, you get 330. And even if we do it on our calculator, let's do cosine 330. Where is it? No, that's... We'll do cosine 330. You get radical 3 over 2. So if you want to check one of your answers, just do cosine 330 or 30, okay? And if you get the same value as the one here, that means that's one of your answers, okay? So let's try it for all of them to make sure, okay? So cosine 60 is 1 over 2, so that's not one of the choices. Cosine minus 60 is going to be the same thing, but let's just do it. It's also 1 over 2. And now let's do cosine minus 30. Okay, we found 30 and we found 330. Now let's try negative 30. And we also get radical 3 over 2. So that's our last answer because they're asking for 3. Okay, this might look like a headache, like it's so hard, but it's so easy once you actually start reading into it, okay? So, we know that tangent equals sine over cosine. Now let's remember that, okay? And we know that there's a trigonometric identity. That's sine squared x plus cosine squared x equals 1. Now let's shift it around a bit. If we want only sine squared x, we go sine squared x equals, we move that to the other side, so 1 minus cosine squared x. Or if we want cosine squared x, we move the sign to the other side, we get 1 minus sine squared x. Now remember those, okay? Because they will really come in handy. Okay, so we know that tan is sine over cosine, okay? So here they're asking if it's equal to tan, okay? And when it's a radical, okay, that means you're changing the square root to a radical, so you just keep the cosine without the squared, okay? Just remember that too. Let's take that all back, okay? So we know that tan is sine over cosine, okay? So sine here we have is 1 minus cosine squared, and because they want it in a radical, we take off this and we put a radical beside it. You will get 1 minus cosine squared x, and that's that here, okay? And we know that tan is sine over cosine, and here's cosine, so that's one of your answers, okay? Okay, here they want cosine, not squared, cosine only. So you remove the squared and put radical. So here's 1 minus sine squared x under the radical, and here's 1 minus sine squared x under the radical, which will equal to cosine, which is here, and cosine here. So that's also one of your answers. Okay, then we have this one. This might look as tricky, but flip this one around, okay? Flip the first one around, okay? You will get 1 over t. 1 over t over so just flip it around, you'll get the same thing. And that's why this is also one of the answers. But the other one, this here says it's plus, it's not minus. So it's wrong because here we have minus. And here the third option, let me open the third option. Oh, there's more than third option, okay. Here it's 1 So here we didn't flip it. We kept it the same, but we put 1 over t. How can we have that if we already found that this is only t? How can we have the same equation equal to 1 over t? That's not possible, so that's also why that's wrong. And then the third one is the same as this equation, but it's plus, and you can't have, and sine, why is it lagging? Sorry. Sine squared. Okay, we know that sine squared x or sine x only is equals to radical 1 minus cosine squared x. And here it's telling you it's plus. That's not possible. So wrong too. And that's why these are wrong. Let's go to the fifth question now. Okay, this is easy and nice as well, okay? First thing, let's go to the calculator and see what shift sine radical 3 over 2 is, if you don't have them memorized already. Okay, let's do shift sine radical 3 over 2. We get 60, okay? We don't need you anymore. Let's put this equals to 60, okay? Now, to change radians form into degrees, which we needed in degrees because this answer is in degrees. This answer here is in degrees, okay? We have to multiply the equation, which is 2 pi over 3 times 180 over pi, and that's how we flip it to degrees. Let's cancel pi. 180 is divisible by 3, so 60, because 60 times 3 is 180. So 2 times 60 is 120. Okay, and we know sine rotates every 180. Okay, so 180 minus 60 is 120. So that's one of your choices. If you don't remember this in the exam, check each answer by going, I'll tell you how to do it. Okay, you go to your calculator. Okay, you do sine of 120, which you found from here. Okay, you will get radical 3 over 2, and that proves to you that the radical 2 pi over 3 is the right answer. If you don't know how to do that, just check every single answer, okay? When you shift them to degrees, just check it on the calculator. You don't have to remember 180 is rotating for sine. You don't have to remember these, or it's most probably you have to. Best if you want to take the easy way, just use your calculators, okay? Okay, so minus 2 will get you minus 120, and that's not something we can get from 180. 180 minus 60 is only 120, and it's not minus 120, so that's also wrong. And then pi over 3, okay? Let's shift it to, let's shift it to degrees. So 180 over pi, cross, 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 cross 60. And that is what we found from radical 3 over 2. So that's one of the choices. Now 7 pi over 3 times 180 over pi. Okay, so cancel, 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 cancel. We get 60. 7 times 60, you can do it on your calculators. 7 times 60 is 420. Okay, I know that without using my calculator, but let me use my calculator just to make sure. So 7 times 60, yes, it's 420. Okay, so 420. Okay, let's do it on our calculators. Like I said, check every single answer. So, because this will not like excuse to why it's like 180 rotations. But if you want to remember, sine also, every single one of them, every single like trigonometric ratio rotates every 360. Okay, so 60 plus 360 equals 420, by the way. And if you don't remember that in the exam, just go on your calculator and do sine 420. You get radical 3 over 2, and that's how you get that answer. And then pi radical and minus pi over 3 is negative 120, negative 60, sorry, and we don't have negative 60 for this, we only have 60. Okay, so that's also why that one's wrong. Now let's go to question 6. Okay, question 6 is literally the same concept, but the only difference is it's with tan. Okay, so 7 radical over 6 times 180 over pi. Cancel, 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 cancel. 30, because we saw that in the other question 60 times 3 is 180, so the opposite is 180. 6 times 30 is 180, so 7 times 30 is 210. Here, remember that. Okay, I don't know why I like changed them to degree first. I should have what's going on with me? I should have did shift tan radical 3 over 3. I'll do it on my calculator and I'll tell you the answer. So shift tan radical 3 over 3 is 30. Okay, so this is equal to 30. Okay, so here 210 minus 30 is, 210 minus 30 equals 180, and we know that tan rotates every 180. If you don't know that, let's go calculators again. I'm telling you, calculators are really gonna save us this exam. Okay, so tan 210 is radical 3 over 3, and that's the tan we have here. Okay, so that's already one of the answers. Okay, so let's keep converting here. Okay, so times 180 over pi, cross this is 30. Okay, so tan 30 is radical 3 over 3. Okay, now let's also convert here. Times 180 over pi, cancel, 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 cancel. 30, it will become minus 150. Tan minus 150. Tan minus 150 is radical 3 over 3. If you're not sure of your answers, you would solve all of them. But here, because they asked for 3 and we already found the first 3 and are sure of it, we'll just finish there. But if you're not sure of your answers, finish the rest just to make sure that these 3 are your answers, okay? But here we checked them on our calculators and we literally have the answers in front of us. So I'm pretty sure we're sure of it. Okay, this is also the same thing, okay? But we know that secant equals 1 over cosine. But on your calculator, you can't shift cosine when it's in the denominator, okay? So let's change it around. Let's change this formula around for a bit. So we can also see that cosine, or if you can't shift around, like I said in the other video, if you don't know how to shift around stuff, just memorize it. Cosine is also 1 over secant. Okay, and here we have our secant is 2, so cosine will be 1 over 2 here, okay? Let's remember that. So this is 1 over 2 cosine. So let's go on our calculator. Shift cosine, 1 over 2 is 60, okay? We don't need you anymore. So this is equal to 60, okay? So let's change this to degrees, okay? You get 3 and 180 is 60, so you get 60. Okay, for secant, remember this. For secant, you can have positive and negative, okay? Or if you don't remember that either, go to your calculator, minus 60, okay? So the secant of minus 60, because here it's going to be the same thing, okay? So let's go to our calculator. Secant, which is 1 over cosine. Here we can use, because we're not shifting the cosine, okay? So 1 over cosine minus 60 is also going to be 2. So there you found your 2 answers, and they only asked for 2, and this is the 2 answers, okay? If you want to do the rest, do them, but it's a waste of time, to be honest. Okay, this is like the trigonometric ratio I told you. Okay, the one where it goes cosine squared x plus sine squared x equal to 1. Okay, here, whenever you see the one without the squared, so here it's squared, so you cancel it, and you put the one without the squared, so it's sine, okay? So we want only sine squared x. It's the rule, okay? So you remove cosine to the other side. It becomes 1 minus... Oh, wait, sorry. We want, wait, let me explain. Because I explained wrong, to be honest. We want what we can replace other than cosine, because here we'll have 2. It will be very hard on us, and either way, we still haven't studied how to solve 2 equations with 2 trigonometric ratios in them. I don't know if there's a way to solve them hatta, okay? So let's just replace the cosine squared by something, okay? So like I said, cosine squared x plus sine squared x equals 1. We move sine to the other side. So the replacing of cosine squared x equals 1 minus sine squared x, okay? So let's replace it into the equation. So 1 minus sine squared x plus 24 sine x minus 24. We have two numbers which we can minus, so minus sine, so minus or add, to be honest, x plus 24 sine x minus 24 plus 21 is minus 23. Okay, so I like to cancel the zero from the first number, so I'll cancel the negative from the first number, so I like to multiply the whole equation. They're always equal to zero, by the way, okay, just remember that. I like to multiply the whole equation by a negative except the zero. You don't have to do that, okay? So sine squared x minus 24 sine x plus 23, because two negatives makes a positive, okay? So that's our starting equation now, okay? Let me clear out the screen so I can hide and write the equation again. So sine squared x minus 24 sine x plus 23, okay, equals 0. Now we know that this is the product and this is the sum. So what two numbers make the product of 23, and subtracting them or adding them make negative 24? The only thing you can multiply to get 23 is 23 by 1, okay? But we need to get a negative 24. And we know that two negatives cancel each other and become a positive. So it will be sine x. So we'll just factor it out, okay? Sine x is minus 1. And sine x is minus 23, okay? So now we make this equal to 0 so we can find x, okay? So, okay, I rewrote it because it got erased by accident. Okay, so now we have to equal this number to 0. So x minus 23 equals 0, and x, and this number, and x minus 1 equals 0. Just so we can find the x, okay? So here x, we move to minus 23 to the other side, it becomes positive 23. And here the minus 1 goes to the other side, it becomes positive 1. They already gave you positive 1, so you have to just fit in 23. Okay? And that's that. Question. First thing, this part here is wrong. It's supposed to be 300. Okay? That's the first thing. And now I'll complete doing the question, okay? So cosine 1 over 2. So shift cosine 1 over 2. I'll do it on the calculator. We should have memorized them, but if you didn't memorize them, shift cosine, you can use your calculator, okay? So high is 60, okay? So this is 60, okay? So that's the first answer, okay? And then, because cosine rotates every 360 degrees, we minus 360 by 60 equals 300. And that's what this answer is supposed to be, okay? This answer is supposed to be 300, okay? That's it for 3,000, okay? And that's why that answer is wrong, and that's how you solve it, okay? Now, tan radical 3 over 3 is 30, okay? So that's just that for that question, okay? Tan radical 3 over 3 is 30, and that's how you find that part. It's super simple, okay? Now, cosecant radical 2. We know that cosecant is 1 over sine, okay, equals cosecant, okay. But you can't shift sign or shift anything in the denominator. So we have to play with this a bit to get a value that you can shift in the calculator, okay? If you don't know how to shift some stuff, just memorize it, okay? Sine equals 1 over cosecant, okay? And then cosecant here is negative radical 2, so sine over radical 2. So we do on the calculator. Shift sine 1 radical 2. Sorry, what did I do? Radical 2. So 45. Okay. And nifs and cosecant rotates every 180 like sine, because it's literally sine but 1 over sine, okay? So 180 minus 45 equals 135. That's how you find the answer. You have to remember that sine rotates every 180 and cosine rotates every 360, okay? And that's why this answer is wrong. They're trying to confuse you, I guess, or they just got confused themselves and did 180 for the cosine. That's no. Cosine is 360, okay? Now, second part of kind of the same concept. This is way trickier. First thing, this part of the question is also wrong. I don't know what's wrong with the school and its wrongs, okay? So just ignore it for now, okay? Let's do the first part, okay? The first part, like I said, go calculator. Do shift, sine, radical 3 over 3, so radical 3 over 3. 3 over 3. You get 35.26 for whatever. They want 2 decimal places. They say get here. So 35.26. And that's how you find that answer. And like I said, sine rotates every 180. So 180 minus 35.26 equals 144.74. And that's how you find this answer. Okay? Now, like I said, we ignore B because it is wrong. It's supposed to be 30. It's supposed to be 30 and 150 because cosecant of 2 is 1 over sine, so 1 over 2. So sine 1 over 2 is 30. If you do it on your calculators, it's 30, okay? So, and sine is every 180, so 180 minus 30 is 150. So that's how the answer is solved, okay? Best here is written wrong, so we just ignore it, okay? Now, for C, there is an identity that goes like sine squared x plus cosine squared x equals 1, okay? So we fill it into this place, okay? We shift it around a bit and fill it in, okay? We want to replace sine squared, so we need to have sine squared on this side, okay? So sine squared equals, we move this to the other side, which is cosine, so 1 minus cosine squared x, okay? So let's replace it. Oh, and whatever value is before any number here, most of the time it's 1, but if it's 2, if it's 3, if it's 4, you just multiply this whole thing by, for us, for in this example, it's times 2. So you multiply it by 2, okay? So it becomes 2 minus 2 cosine squared x minus 2 cos, and you keep going with the equation, okay? Cos x. For them, they put different variables. I most of the time use x because it's the easiest to see, okay? Because you might see this whatever it's called, okay, and it's so confusing to look at, okay? So just don't put that, okay? And we have to always have 0 on the equal after the equal sign. So we move 1 to the other side, becomes -1, and then equal to 0. Okay. We have two numbers we can add or subtract. So let's do that. So -2 cosine squared -2 cos x. -1 plus 2 is +1 equals 0. I don't like keeping a negative here, so I'll multiply the whole equation by negative. So it's 2 cosine squared x plus 2 cosine x minus 1 equals 0. Now, let me clear my page because the next part is a bit tricky. Okay? The next part is... Okay, so the second part in algebra, we learned 4 ways to find the x. And for here, they want the x, or to be honest, I literally forgot what this is called, okay? So they want this. Yeah, it's theta, yeah, it's alpha, yeah, it's something, okay? I literally forgot what it's called, okay? But they want that value, the value of that, and I call it x, okay? So they want the value of x. So we in algebra learned 4 ways to find the value of x. First, by factoring. Second, by the square root principle. Third, by completing the square. And fourth, by the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is minus b plus minus. So you can have, because we're finding 2 roots, so it's plus or minus radical b squared minus 4 minus 4ac over 2a. Okay, first thing, we start by using this. Okay, so if for the people who, let me write the equation again. The equation went like cosine 2 cosine squared x minus 2 cosine x plus 1 minus 1, sorry, minus 1 equals 0. That's what I remember the equation to be. Okay, so for the people who don't know, this is a, this is b, this is c. Okay, the negative 1 is c, minus 2 cosine x is b, and 2 cosine squared x is a. For this, we don't use the cosines, we ignore them, we just look at the numbers, okay? So let's start with this part, okay? This part, okay? So b squared is minus 2 squared minus 4ac, so 4a, which is 2, and c, which is -1. Okay, that is equal to 12. If you don't believe me, use your calculator, you'll get 12. Okay, so now we fill in the big equation. So minus b, like I said, this is a, b, c. So minus b is minus 2, so plus 2. So because minus and plus is minus, is plus. Plus minus radical 12, because we found 12, and 2a, so 2, 2. Okay? Okay, so I made this mistake in calculation. This is supposed to be plus and not minus. Okay, so minus 2 plus minus radical 12 over 4. Okay, so the plus and minus is to find 2 roots. Okay, so first let's start with the plus. So minus 2 plus radical 12 over 4. Do it on your calculator. You get, let's do it, minus 2 plus radical 12 over 4. You get 0.37 and completing. Okay, this is positive, so this might be, it's greater than 0, so it might be one of our answers. Now let's try the negative. Okay, let's try negative. So negative radical 12 over 4, we get negative 1.36, and you can't negative 1.36, and you can't have a root being less than 0. So this is an immediate no. Okay, so our root is let me go back to it. 0.366.05403.8. You can never round in the middle step, because I'm guarantee you'll get it wrong, okay? Or you'll get the decimal part wrong, okay? So now let's go to our calculator. We have to shift cosine this answer, okay? So let me go to the calculator. This is just the rule, okay? You can't like pick, okay? So shift cosine, I have the number in front of me on a paper. So 0.366 0.25403.8. Okay, we get 68.529 to 2 decimal places is 68.53. Now let me show you how if you round it you'll get it wrong, okay? Because for this number we round it to 2 decimal places, so 0.3637. You get 68.28. That means you'll get this part of it wrong, and that means you'll get this part of it wrong, okay? Because like I said, now let's go back to 68.53, okay? And I said in last questions, okay, that cosine rotates every 360. So we minus 360 minus 68.53, and we get 291.47. Okay, and that's how we get this part 2, and that's all of this question done. Now let's go to the last question so we can be done. Last question is one of the easiest questions, okay? The last question, we know that there is a trigonometric ratio that goes like 1 plus tan squared x equals secant squared x. Here we have to replace secant squared x from the equation, so we put 1 plus tan squared x بداله. So 1 plus tan squared x minus 22 tan x plus 20 equals 0. It always has to equal 0. We have two numbers we can add, so tan squared x minus 22 tan x plus 20 plus 1 is plus 21. So what numbers multiplied by each other you get to 21, and divided by each other and minus or subtracted or added by each other you'll get you negative 22. It's x 21, negative 21, and minus 1 will multiply together because negative and negative cancel, it become positive, and 1 times 21 is 21, so you get you that. And minus 21 and minus 22 minus 1, sorry, minus 21 and minus 1, minus 21 and minus 1, minus and minus, so you can add that, so it become minus 22, so it's minus 1, and then tan x minus 21. Okay, we have to always equal it to 0, so minus 1 equals 0, x minus 21 equals 0. Move it to the other side, x equals 1, x equals 21. They already gave you 1, so you just fill in 21, and that's how you solve this question. And that's the 3.6 geometry quiz done.